Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to you all. I am Priyanka Mukherjee, and it's an extreme privilege that on a Friday evening, there are so many educationists, so many teachers, so many school leaders who have taken time out of their busy schedule to join this webinar. As you all know, Cambridge has a legacy of hundreds of years with a presence in 170 plus countries. What motivates us, what keeps us going is this innate pursuit of excellence. And I think, and I hope that some of you or most of you had the chance to take a look at the Teachers of Tomorrow platform. If you have not had the chance, I would request you to take a look at the platform because it provides that kind of an opportunity, a platform where the teachers can come together, the school leaders can come together to learn from each other. And most importantly, we have on our panel experts like ma'am here today who can share their expertise and knowledge which can aid our own skill augmentation, because we focus to a large extent on the implementation part in the classrooms. On that note, we are extremely elated to have with us Ms. Astha Kataria, the managing trustee of Ashoka Group of Schools, an electronics engineer by profession, but she has found her calling, her passion in education. Evolution, transformation, and lifelong learning are the three tenets that define her journey, her approach towards education. She has been the recipient of numerous accolades as an impactful leader in the domain of education. And she dabbles in multifarious arenas. She's a nature enthusiast. She's a cyclist. And true to her calling, in today's discussion, she will focus on how effective school leadership is intimately linked to high-performing teams and towards creating a dynamic school environment. So without further ado, ma'am, welcome to the panel, and we're extremely happy to have you here. The floor is all yours.
Thank you, Priyanka. I hope you can hear me well and can see the screen as well. Yes. Let me first take this opportunity to thank Teachers of Tomorrow and Cambridge to be giving me this privilege to share my insights, my learning with all of you today. A very happy evening to each one of you. So today we are going to discuss on effective leadership. Leadership isn't about organization, business, but it's about life, isn't it? In today's scenario, we see that with increased demands, leaders are expected to find out newer ways to perform holistically, not only at workplace, but in the community and society at large, and alongside in their personal lives. So today we are going to ponder upon few characteristics of an ideal leader, and we are going to discuss on certain tools which you can practically implement, adopt to make our leadership better and to lead our team in an effective way. So let me begin this with my simple question. Who is a leader according to you? I would request you all to write your responses in the chat box.
Kindly share your responses on the chat box. So someone who inspires, one who leads the group, one who leads by example, a role model, motivates, empathizes, has a vision, a servant leader. Wonderful. One who does not follow autocratic behavior, one who stands with the team through thick and thin. Transformational.
Thank you so much. Bundle of responses, and I like the variety of responses we are getting. And yes, of course, a leader is someone who is inspiring, who is motivating, and who is leading the team to achieve their vision, their mission, and to align all the people alongside. So, as you can see, and today I am going to talk. So when we see, let me first check, when you all define these. So we can see a leader in an educator, in a teacher who is leading the kids in the classroom, who's leading the kids in their learning journey overall. We can see the leader in administrator, principal, who is managing day-to-day affairs, multiple responsibilities, aligning the team, and so on and so forth. So we can see that anyone who is leading any set of responsibilities and a group of people is a leader in himself or herself. And today I'm happy to have you all leaders in this webinar. Today I am going to present a leadership style which I believe in, which inspires me, and which I tend to emulate in my real life. And that is nothing other than servant leadership. So servant leadership exhibits the real trait to serve. As you can see, the servant leadership focuses on supporting and developing and enabling the team, the subordinates, to unfold their potential and their ability. This demonstrates effective delegation of responsibilities and participative leadership. This philosophy and practice is defined by Robert Greenleaf. Let us look at the key characteristics of servant leadership. And let us start unfolding each one of these. Empathy. Servant leaders are empathetic, skilled listeners. They believe in the power of active listening. They listen to understand, then to be understood. The second trait comes the awareness and foresightedness. The foresightedness brings the vision clarity in servant leaders. They understand the concerns they have faced in the past or the challenges they have witnessed in the past. They can relate them at present, and they can foresee the actions of the decisions, the consequences of the decisions they are taking in future. They dream big and they have a clear vision. The next trait comes to stewardship. This simply focuses on commitment to serve, to have a common goal of doing and creating a larger good for the entire society. The next attribute is healing. They have the strength, these leaders have the strength to heal oneself and heal others. And hence, they are very effective in their conflict resolution, management, and they can work very well on different relationships, different hierarchies. Community building, very, very important aspect. Needless to say, this is the key pivotal trait which servant leaders exhibit. For them, it is not just the success of the organization, but it is the success of contribution to the entire community for the well-being and goodness of the entire community. Persuasion, they believe in convincing others rather than compliance approach. So they always build consensus within groups. So yes, theoretically, ideally, these are the ideal traits of a leader. And yet in real life, we all grapple with different challenges. We tend to emulate a lot of these characteristics, yet in real life, we know that we are struggling. Here again, I would like your opinion, your poll, in terms of what are the current challenges you are facing as a leader.
Ma'am, may I just interject once? Can you share the screen as full screen, ma'am? There's a response from many of the participants that the screen is not fully visible. Right.
I'm sharing the full screen, Priyanka.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Can you see my
Is it
screen
visible
completely?
now?
Yes, I can see the screen fully.
Yeah, maybe they must have logged in from mobile or something. I'm not too sure. But
No, actually, ma'am's screen was pinned somehow. I don't know. So now
Okay,
I've
now it's
pinned
fine,
the
ma'am. Not to
screen.
worry.
Yeah.
Huh.
okay, so can we continue? So Priyanka, can we have the audience poll in the chat box on what are the current
Sure.
challenges? Yeah.
So I invite your responses, everyone. What are the challenges you're facing as a leader? Can you please share? The first response is in, ma'am. It's one-sided communication.
Okay.
Time management.
Okay.
Okay. Different aims of stakeholders, multitasking, commanding, being misinterpreted. Any different goals of different people. Time management is a recurrent theme, ma'am. Then deadlines, work-life balance, communication
Got
is a
it.
recurrent theme, and of course, funding, parental
Yes.
interference, work-life balance, ma'am. These are the common themes, ma'am. Time management, deadlines, communication.
I'm happy that everyone is sharing what is the current challenge they are grappling with. And yes, I'm in tandem with you with respect to all different challenges which you have shared. Uh, we are touching upon few, and you would see that what practical tools we are going to discuss. These are going to also touch upon all the areas which you have spoken or shared on the chat. Yes. So as Priyanka mentioned, time management is one of the key aspect. With time management comes the work-life balance. And a lot of these areas are in terms of adapting to change, whether it's technology or it is the changes which comes with all the interested parties' expectations. So let's look at what can be done. So practically, let's see how to become an effective leader. Can we work on some actionables to achieve this? And these are purely implementation aspects which I'm sharing with all of you. So here comes the magic of batching and magic of scheduling. So what's that? Magic of batching simply indicates if we can batch the like tasks, the similar kind of tasks together so that they are put in different boxes. And then we think and ideate and work on those different boxes. And what's the magic of scheduling? That is, let us unfold what it is. But to make you all understand, when I say that we need to do scheduling, I know that in academic context, everything is very pre-scheduled. There are a lot of processes and systems in place. Yet, what I'm indicating is the dynamism which is also involved alongside. And how do we work on things without getting overwhelmed? And by channelizing each aspect of things which comes in our kitty as we are in the working framework, one by one, without missing something which is important. So let's unfold what's the magic of batching and magic of scheduling. So, as I told you, I'm sharing few practical implementable aspects. So first begins with to-do list. To-do list simply indicates to maintain a dynamic to-do list. So encapsulating anything and everything which is coming as a work to do, all in one framework. I would recommend OneNote to be used to make a effective to-do list. Quick capture. Quick capture is nothing but, again, this quick capture can be done and assimilated through a WhatsApp self group, which one can create. Through that, you can quickly capture whatever needs to be done wherever you come across any specific video, link, any work, anything which you want to assign to your own self. You can do that through quick capture. But remember, quick capture is a short-term list. You are supposed to review your quick capture every night, and you are supposed to convert that as a part of your to-do list. If not every day, then at least in 2 days, your quick capture should be empty. What's a waiting list and list of someday? So since there are a lot of tasks which comes our way, we need to see that priority-wise, are there tasks which can be in waiting list? And are there areas which I can keep it for someday? I need to read a good educational, document, or I need to watch something relevant. I can just park it on list of someday if it is not something urgent and important. Now, with the list of things in our to-do list, how do we really prioritize? And here lies the key. So here, a simple rule is to follow the Pareto rule, Pareto principle, which talks about that how can we prioritize, how can we focus on the tasks which are aligned to our vision, mission, which are aligned, which when you do, would give you a result which would drive you towards your mission and vision. So can we focus on targeting 20% of our key tasks to be done first, which is going to fetch you 80% of the result? In real life also, you would realize that 80% of the miscellaneous tasks we do, or things we do, or clothes we wear, are 20%, giving any result. Or in terms of clothing, you would find that 20% clothing you wear 80% of the time. So this is true in real life, and I'm just reiterating in the professional context that if we follow the Pareto principle, we can focus on achieving great results with minimum efforts. Let's watch this video, and then I'll unfold a few things. I think there's some issue. So let's move ahead. Maybe at the end, if we can check if we have time. So through this, I primarily wanted to showcase the power of delegation. Now, when I said that, we have things to do, and as I'm indicating, if we can have 20% of our tasks focused, which are going to yield 80% of my result, then subsequently, I can focus on that one thing which will give me an effective result for the week, that one thing which will give me an effective result for the month, that one thing which I would focus to give me, to help me yield the result or yield the outcome which I'm looking at to achieve as a short-term objective for my organization. And what do we do with the 80% of the work which is remaining? There, we either delegate or we leave the unimportant tasks. And believe me, not to-do list is way more important than your to-do list. Because we need to be very clear what we need not focus into. So what's the art of identifying this 80-20? I'm just looking at the 4 quadrants, and it simply signals there is a small mistake. The important and urgent. If it is very important and very urgent, I am doing it. If it is important and not that urgent, I'm going to schedule it for the week, for the month, or for the, for 6 months. If it is not an urgent and not important also, I am not going to do it. I'm not going to waste my energy into it. And if it's urgent and not important, I am going to delegate the task. So bringing your focus on what needs to be done very effectively when we are following all these principles. That is weekly reflection, which I'm insisting each one of you to be doing out of your office. The core reason is that this should be your self time. You should be totally focused on reviewing what kind of targets you had set for yourself in the week. Because scheduling the week is most important. From the week would come the schedule of the day. And in the day would be the waiting list, which can be carried forward. If you see that you have any kind of a meeting gets cancelled or something, you can accommodate that waiting list. So coming back, that your weekly reflection needs time and energy from you to do so that you can review how much you could achieve, so that you can realign your next week tasks towards your targeted goals and objectives. So overall, you can track your progress and realign yourself. So we have spoken a lot on being an effective leader. I'm going to now focus on how can we build an equally effective team? Because as we know that a leader is only as good as their team. I'm as strong as my weakest link. So let's move towards creating a high performance team. And how do we do that? We do that primarily by aligning our vision, our mission, and our organizational goals. This is the most important aspect, which if it gets misaligned, we see the challenges which everyone responded in the chat box. So what are the traits of a high-performing team? As you can see, one of the key traits is setting up the right culture, because culture is everything. When I say that the leader is leading by example, the leader is leading by doing, I'm talking about setting up a culture of that attribute, that quality. The leader addresses challenges proactively, where the approach of one and many is to address the challenge, is to look for a solution to mitigate the problems and the concerns. And while we do that, the most important aspect is to follow a systematic approach. When I say systematic approach, I would like to indicate the importance of roles, responsibilities, accountabilities in each and everything we do, we delegate, because that would bring the review, reflection from you and from the team. And this is equally important at every level. We spoke on servant leadership, so this doesn't limit only to the team down the line. Goal setting, again, is the pivotal aspect, because without that, we are directionless. So are we aligned? Again, we would come to that how do we have a shared goal and vision? So when I say that we have to create a champion team, how can we do that? So let's do that through few steps. And that is through team alignment. TAM stands for Team Alignment Meeting. Here, I would like you to reflect on your current relationship with your team. You can begin this by asking a few simple questions to your own self. How does my team look up to my organization? How do they find my organization goals? And are they aligning with the organization goals which I see and I visualize? What is my current relationship with my team? Is my team finding value and growth in what they are doing? And so on. So when we are reflecting on these questions, what is important? What is important is to welcome them and, in a common forum where there is no agenda, no requirement, no expectations, but simply a get together, a circle time, a place where they can express themselves, where you can listen to them empathetically. And that happens. And when that happens, you are going to recreate your organization and you would be able to share a new vision for your team. So what do we do in team alignment meeting? The whole objective is to empower the team to produce their best. So we are supposed to get them together, maybe start with setting up the right context. So where the organization, what is the whole history of the organization, where the organization began, when did the organization begin, how has been, different milestones which organization has achieved, what has been the key challenges. And for these kind of sharings, you can invite one of the founding member, you can invite one of the senior member. That would do magic because the entire team would understand what has been the core belief, why it has been the core belief, what the organization believes in, what the organization values. So you would get a buy-in. They would understand the overall organization vision and values in a very different way. So, and when you do this, show them what is in it for them. Why are we making them partners in discussing the organizational growth? Just ask them, meta question them. When they are talking, listen to them. Don't advise, because this is a platform where they can express. Link their future with the future of the organization so that they can see that what I am going to contribute, how I am going to grow, the organization also would grow, and there is a link to it. So in this, once you share the organization history and framework, then you can ask them to share their vision sheet. When I say their vision sheet, it is something which they want to create, not what they can create, but something which they want to create, how they want to see the company, how they want to see themselves in few years down the line. And then ask them to fill the vision sheet where they are going to highlight their personal goals and they are going to highlight their growth aspiration in the organization. They can keep that document with them. It can be their confidential document, but what this will bring is this would align them to establish a connect between the organizational growth and their growth. And this will serve the purpose of showing them that what is it in it for them. And when I say this can be done at the core level. This can be done within a small team. How big or small the team or at what level we are talking about is not important. What is important is that the team with whom you're working and you're going to work is very well aligned. And we would see that it would foster a positive school culture. It would promote building relationships. It would be a welcoming space. You would communicate your core values. You would recognize achievements. You would recognize small wins. You would encourage leadership because they are the ones who are proposing solutions. They are the ones who are proposing the vision. They are the ones who are proposing the growth journey of the organization. And together, you create a new, you can create a new vision. You can create a new mantra for short term to work with. I'm not going to read this, but this is something I want everyone to check and ponder upon. Remember, your team is the core strength, and it is always going to be like that. So take them along and lead with a collective leadership. I'm just sharing a few interesting reads. I would highly recommend both these books. One thing primarily focuses on the power of identifying one thing which can make the difference, which can align closely to your vision, and which can help you prioritize your tasks. And Eat the Frog for aligning your professional work domain, for aligning some practical tips and tools to implement them. This is a pure implementation aspect, Eat the Frog. So the core aspect is eating the most difficult, the big frog first. So addressing the most difficult task first and finishing it. And then you would see that you're more than half of the task or battle is won. After all, as Simon Sinek says, leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge. Thank you so much. And just last, I'm sure that this would help you reframe the meaning of leadership. This would help you reevaluate your actionables. And this would help you look things from a cleaner slate with an open mind. And please make sure that these are tools to experiment. Unless and until you implement those, you repeatedly do what you do will show you some visible change. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I mean, some insights that you shared, the best part of them was that it's very practical, ma'am. Like we mentioned at the outset, we'll focus on the implementation. So thank you for focusing on the practical aspects, ma'am. And the questions, the responses, everything is pouring in, ma'am, as we speak. A lot of compliments, a lot of appreciation coming your way, ma'am. Well-tailored presentation, very relevant and very important issues being highlighted. So, ma'am, a lot of responses pouring in, ma'am, and a lot of appreciation and pouring in, very coherent thought process. So wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone, for being so proactive. I think the lessons of empathy, being able to listen to each other, to be an active listener, the things that ma'am mentioned, then the 4 quadrants of importance, which is urgent and important, important but not urgent, so on and so forth. I think all of those are things that you can take away and definitely implement in the classroom, along with, so that culture of high performance is created. So thank you, ma'am. We'll take a few questions now, apart from the relentless compliments and appreciation pouring in. So first question, ma'am, that we like to take for now. We'll not be able to take all the questions, but we'll take some of the most relevant and the most topical ones in the interest of time. So first question is, how do we prevent quiet quitting in any organization, in case the team members are finding it difficult to align with the mission of the organization? That's the first question, ma'am.
Right. A very practical question again. Thank you for this question. So you use the term quiet quitting. And this simply indicates a major gap of being heard. So to begin with, I would suggest that every organization should have a very clear indication given to each and every employee of the organization, each and every stakeholder of the organization on how they can reach out. So that should be very well, defined. That does, that not only allows somebody to approach when they are in need. Also, there can be certain platforms which organization follows, through which organization can also have certain interim checks to sense the pulse, the health of the organization. And the second part is, so, I'm again going to the first part, is you can also have, a teacher's, support cell kind of a aspect, whether it's a part of human resource or a separate cell in itself, which can help addressing and redressal of all such concerns with which people at different organization levels are facing. And second, about the team alignment or organization's vision and mission alignment, I think that's the core. So that has to be very well achieved. And for that, I'm suggesting that every organization should have a repetitive process of team alignment. Alignment, not just during their regular annual inductions, but also maybe every quarter, where you have, and this team alignment can happen right from management level to the second level to the third level, at every level, so that would ensure that the team is aligned towards that the larger goal of the organization, and also towards the smaller and the important targets which the organization has set in for the short duration. So few practical systems should be there to ensure that this doesn't happen.
Thank you, ma'am.
Just one last and not the least is when somebody is going away from the organization, then an exit interview, a very effective exit interview that would help you, keep the process dynamic and make changes wherever it is necessary basis the employee feedback.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think all of the points are very implementable. That is the word that is coming up in the discussion and in the chat box, ma'am. We'll quickly take a couple of more questions.
Sure.
Next question is very pertinent to what we have been discussing so far. How can school leaders create a culture of psychological safety that encourages risk-taking and vulnerability among teachers while maintaining high academic and performance standards? I think extremely pointed question, ma'am. I'll just repeat once again.
No,
yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, how can school leaders create a culture of psychological safety that encourages risk-taking and vulnerability among teachers while still maintaining high academic and performance standards?
So I think, last few minutes, I've been addressing on these core aspects only. So on one part, we talk about systems and processes and, very methodical approaches, which are essentials, which are non-negotiables. And on the other hand, we talk about servant leadership, which talks about managing this methodical approach with a human approach, by taking people alongside, by being an empathetic listener to them. Why do we have to think of psychological safety? Possibly because openness is not there, because fear is prevailing, because the consequences might have been not so positive, and there can be some other reasons too. So this aspect again talks about more and more avenues where team can come together, team can open up, team can have uh, have times where they are not discussing academics, they are not discussing school progress, they are not discussing stakeholders' expectations, but they are purely being them. So while we are in a professional setup, which is going to be there majority of the times, and we'll have deadlines and timelines to meet and work to do, and so on and so forth, but we also need to have those free time, free in all aspects, in terms of making a healthy emotional relationship, a good social connect with everyone, and if I can say, to establish a family-like environment at your workplace.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll quickly take the next question. How important it is for a leader to have compassion and empathy in a world which is extremely result-oriented?
A leader is a leader. So, that's the most important characteristic. How important, I can't tell. I mean, that is something which you have to have. It is non-negotiable. Unless I can be there for my team, unless I understand, unless I can read them, unless they can approach me, or unless I keep making efforts to keep them in alignment with my thought process. Please understand that these all aspects are dynamic aspects. It is not that today I'm a good leader or today I have a certain chemistry with my team, it's going to be the same tomorrow. It is something, balance is, achieving balance is a myth. So it's a continual process. So a leader, that's why servant leadership is something which I chose and I spoke on, because it's not that other leadership styles are not to be followed. We all switch our leadership styles also. But while we do that, we have to remember that this is something which is the pivotal. This is something which has to be taken care. So a leader has to be compassionate. A leader has to be humble. A leader has to be someone who can be approached, and someone who is there. They say that people remember how you made them feel. That touches people more than anything. So that talks about, again, one of the key attributes which leader should possess, and leader should keep trying, because each one is a human who is exhibiting leadership traits, leadership skills. So we are all in making, we are all in this process. So
thank you so much, ma'am. I think that was a wonderful way to summarize today's discussion. We start with processes, but we end with empathy and understanding and active listening. Ma'am, the questions are pouring in non-stop, and so are the appreciation notes. But in the interest of time, unfortunately, we will not be able to accommodate any further. So my request to all of you is do reach out on the Teachers of Tomorrow platform, and because all these webinars will be uploaded in due course of time on the platform, so that you can refer to these, enriching discussions at your ease as well. Having said that, ma'am, thank you so very much.
My
On
pleasure.
Friday evening, people are so enthusiastic about asking those questions and appreciating. That shows how practical and implementable the tenets that you spoke about today. So thank you so very much, ma'am. And a wonderful round of appreciation for all the audience who have been deeply involved, deeply enthusiastic, and extremely proactive throughout the entire session. So thank you, everyone. Request you to take out time to look at the Teachers of Tomorrow platform, and we'll have all of you back next week for the webinar around the same time next week. So thank you, everyone, for joining in, and thank you again, ma'am. It was just an enlightening session on a Friday evening. Thank you.
Thanks to each one of you, and thank you, Priyanka, Teachers of Tomorrow, Cambridge. And I couldn't take every question, but I hope I've been able to answer a few, and have a lovely evening ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you again. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.